The IDF is known for its warriors, its air force, the Iron Dome anti-defense system, and its intelligence. But very few know that on the front lines of Israeli military intelligence is a trackers unit, formed by Bedouin soldiers who collect intelligence and trace suspicious activity vital for Israeli military and security.
The desert trackers are capable of reading the environment, reading the desert ecosystem, and figuring out exactly where terrorists might have gone to so that the military can engage with them and ultimately eliminate the threat. What the Bedouin trackers do is they provide us with the ability that even if a unit didn't see the terrorists as they were crossing, they provide us with the ability to find out where those terrorists are. They read the signs, they look at the sand, they look at the leaves, they look at the rocks, and they see where those people went and they follow the trail. And like bloodhounds, they don't let off of the trail until they catch them.
Along the border between Israel and Jordan, we met with a couple of these Bedouin trackers, known to have operated as the eyes of the military for decades.
The trackers are the ones who are supposed to recognize the trails, to recognize the signs, to be able to say how many people there are, when did they cross, what's their direction, what they did here, when they sat down, when they continued on their way. You follow their tracks up to the last point until you catch them. It's a hard responsibility because the tracker always goes at the head of the force. If, for instance, a terrorist starts firing at him, he's the first to take the hit.
This IDF tracker demonstrated several methods in which his team traces infiltrators and their whereabouts.
It's called a pipe, and it's one of the methods used when they cross the border. It's fairly simple. They pass the group along the border, and when the last one comes out, he's responsible to blur out the tracks, so goes back and starts to cover their tracks.
To be accepted to this special unit is quite challenging. And as it appears, admission requires a set of skills Bedouins seem to have mastered over the average Israeli soldier.
They know the desert like the back of their hand. They know when something is amiss, they know when something is afoot, they know how to read the branches, and they know how to know exactly what happened. They know the story because they grew up with the story, and that's the story that they stay with while they're in the military.
Not everyone can master this profession, only those who live in a rural area, who went after sheep, camels, and you learn these things the minute the camel gets lost. Then you are afraid of your parents, and you have to think to yourself, where did it go? So you create yourself a sort of pursuit, and you walk after the tracks of the camel, and eventually, after some time, you find it. What you see here is the blurred out, the change in the color of the ground. Can you see? This means that a group came in here and they continued into the country. Here, these are the tracks of him progressing towards entering the country.
For generations, Bedouins who are Muslim played an important role in the military in Israel.
Just like the Druze, just like American immigrants, just like Russian immigrants, the Bedouins also served in the military, and they performed the service in combat positions.
I am the third generation in the military. My grandfather and my father and me, we all served as trackers, even in the days of the British Mandate. I'm continuing the family tradition, and up to this day, I am in military service. I believe my kids, my brothers, and my nephews all want to continue the tradition.
And while many Muslims claim to feel like they are second-class citizens in Israel, these Bedouin trackers convey an entirely different picture in the army.
Everyone in the army wears the same uniform, eats the same food, and sleeps in the same room. So actually, there's no discrimination issues. As a Bedouin, I don't feel any different. Everyone is equal. I'm as equal as any of the other soldiers.
And what about the infiltrators? Well, using their own techniques, the Bedouin trackers surely have managed to catch them by now. For JN1, I'm Sivan Raviv, Israel.